Coming up on this episode of BattleScale Collectica, a custom Robocop printed in 3D plastic. Special guest Scott Jameson with Evan Designs discusses LED lighting. And our friend Brandon from Squadron provides some model kit news, along with our special viewer showcase. Stay tuned.
Hi, welcome to BattleScale Collectica, the webcast devoted solely to custom figures and scale modeling enthusiasts. My name is Jack and I'm your host. Thank you for joining us on our first episode of the webcast. Before we get to our special guest for today, I'm going to just talk about what's on my desk. And I've got a couple projects that we're going to kind of go back to over the next few episodes as I'm working on some custom 3D prints. The first one I've got is I've been wanting to do a good Robocop figure for quite a while, and there's a few nice figures that have been released, but I wanted to do a print project. So I got online and I located through Etsy a Robocop STL file, which is basically, if you're not familiar with 3D printing, is the 3D files you use whenever you're going to print either a filament printer with plastic or a resin printer. There's a couple different ways of printing. And we'll get into that as the series progresses. I'll have some special guests that are really specialists with 3D printing. 3D printing has really changed the modeling landscape, and I've been really heavily involved. Right now, almost, I'd say 80% of everything I'm working on is 3D printed. So on this first one, as I noted, let's go to the STL files. So here's the STL preview of the head. And it's got some nice details. It's got those brain vents or whatever in the back of the helmet here. That would be interesting. The markings on his helmet up here. The face doesn't have a lot of high detail. I don't see any pores in the skin. So what I decided to do is, since I like to work with large scales, I decided I'd try to take this, and this is designed to be printed in a resin 3D printer. With PLA FDM plastics, you tend to have layer lines between transitions, so that's why a lot of people that work on figures prefer resin, because it is a cleaner print and easier to get ready for paint. I was wondering, well, what would happen if I took this STL file and I scaled it up about 150%, which would put it around 1/6 scale. So about a foot tall. And I printed it not in resin, but in plastic, PLA. And I kind of put this out in the forums. Hey, do you think this would be worth trying to print larger and in plastic as opposed to resin? And it's been a mixed bag. A lot of people are saying, well, you're going to see layer lines. It won't look real. It won't print the details. And these are valid criticisms, but I think I'm going to try it anyways. If it's successful, then I'll have a unique Robocop statue that probably no one else has, at least in that size and in plastic, because again, most modelers aren't going to mess with it. And then the other model I'm working on, I'm printing, and this is something I've wanted to do like forever, and it's only been available since 3D printing really came out, is I wanted to print a 3/4 studio scale BattleScale Collectica model. And until really 3D printing came about, this was just an impossibility. Most of the models of the Galactica that have been released, and there's been a couple, Mobius is the most recent, and there was a couple other brands that printed out some nice ones, but they're still relatively small, like 17 inches or so. And I wanted something about 50 inches. I don't know where I'm going to put it yet. My wife's like telling me don't do it, but I'm going to do it anyways. So I've started printing it, and you can see some of it behind me. And obviously a model on this scale begs to be lit. Especially with the hangar bays. I'm planning on scratch building the hangar bays and putting some Vipers and shuttles and some small figures in it, and really going out and lighting the engines and the bridge. And so I was like, well, I have to light it. So what do I do for lighting? And that kind of brings us into our segment with our special guest today, because this is a company that I've actually purchased quite a lot of electronics from, and I decided that I'd use them to order the lights and the power supplies for the Galactica. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce today's special guest. It is Scott Jameson with Evan Designs. Scott, thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
So Scott, like I mentioned, I'm a longtime customer of Evan Designs, but let's just assume some of the viewers have just never heard of you guys or your offerings. So can you kind of quickly just kind of summarize who is Evan Designs and what does your shop offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So um, we produce LED lights for all types of miniatures, ranging from remote control cars and drones to model railroads, dollhouses, um, all types of models, die-cast cars, you name it. We started actually back in 1997. My dad took me to a model railroad convention when I was 4 years old, and I was just looking at all the trains there, and he realized that he could make some computer software that would allow people to print out miniature scale buildings on their home printer, and they could cut out the paper, assemble all the sides of the buildings together, and make 3D buildings in any scale they wanted. And fast forward 9 or 10 years, it was about 2006, and miniature LEDs, were just starting to be available. So he found, both of my parents started finding LEDs would work well in those miniature paper buildings, because the old style of lights was the incandescent, and that would have a potential to light the buildings on fire. And the new LEDs generated no heat whatsoever, so they're completely safe for any type of model. So the LEDs were a huge hit, and now it's our main offering.
So Scott, that kind of segues into my next question. Can you kind of go through some of the various shop offerings you have? I mean, the different LEDs, the power sources, you've got some audio options for scale modelers. Can we kind of just walk through everything that's available through Evan Designs?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have, I guess the type of LED that most people are familiar with is the bulb style LEDs. So the plastic casing around the light. I can light this one up real quick. Just a 9-volt battery here. So this one's actually a color changing LED. But we have pretty much every color available. We have different flashing patterns, and like you mentioned, we have the various power supplies you need. So depending how you want to power your project, if you want it to be portable, you can do little battery packs. Like we have these for a smaller model. If you want to have the power inside the model, you can have like a little coin cell. So you just clip that in, and then you can turn everything on and off. We have the power adapters that you can plug in the wall, so that you don't have to worry about replacing batteries frequently. We have remote controls to turn things on and off. You can turn off on your if you have all your models on display, you can turn them off one by one, or stuff like that. We have, like you mentioned, we have besides LEDs, we also have the sound circuits. So we have like this is one of our newest ones. This is it's a blaster gun, like a sci-fi. But yeah, we plan on having a lot of new things as well.
For some of the maybe amateur modelers like me or beginners that kind of view wiring and lighting and adding effects inside a little challenging, is you really do offer a full spectrum of plug and play systems. Well, we're going to take a quick break, so don't go away. We're going to come right back with Scott Jameson with Evan Designs, so stay with us.
Do you have a model build you're proud of? We'd like to feature it on our webcast. Just send us an email. Please include some images of the assembled kit in standard JPEG format. If your project is selected, we'll be in touch for more details. If your model is featured on the show, we'll send you some free swag. Squadron has modeling supplies and tools for every phase of building your next car, airplane, military, or any other scale model project. Squadron truly offers something for everyone, from beginners to experts, from World War II aircraft to models of famous science fiction ships. Whatever you're passionate about, Squadron offers it, and most orders ship within 24 hours. Please go to www.squadron.com.
Okay, we're back with Scott Jameson with Evan Designs. Now, Scott, can you talk about some of the benefits that customers have when they purchase electronics from your shop?
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely pride ourselves in being able to give very knowledgeable advice on whatever questions you may have. If you're planning to light a model and you want to ask us what voltage you should use, what power supply is best for your situation, what size LEDs, warm white or cool white, which one is going to work better in that situation. And we definitely pride ourselves in being able to give knowledgeable advice. And this past year especially, I've noticed quite a few people will give us a call and they'll have a question about something they ordered, and they say on the phone, "Wow, it's so refreshing to talk to a person and not have a chat bot on Amazon that's not helpful about their project or whatever it is." But yeah, if you have any questions about what you're trying to do, definitely reach out. You can find contact information on the website, and we're always happy to help.
And you guys also offer a warranty on your lights too, if I remember.
Yeah. So we have a 2-year warranty on everything we offer. If anything fails within the first 2 years, let us know what happened and we'll replace it for free. If you did, say you bought 3-volt LEDs and you put them on your 12-volt battery and they exploded, that is not covered in the warranty. But if the lights failed and it wasn't like an obvious power mismatch or something, then we can definitely work with you to figure out what the reason was. These LEDs are rated between 50,000 to 100,000 hours of runtime, which works out to over 10 years of never turning them off. So typically, if a light fails within 2 years, there was some other issue may have caused that, and we can definitely work with you to figure out what the reason is, whether the power supply had a malfunction or the switch failed or something like that. We can work with you to replace which part along the system it was. But also, yeah, it's like I mentioned, the 100,000-hour runtime. These LEDs last a long time, and usually there's no problems at all.
I'm a longtime customer, and your shop service is second to none, and there's just such a wide range of variety. Scott, can we talk about what products that you sell? What are some of your really popular lines that move? What do you see people like me buying over and over and over again from you guys?
Yeah, so definitely the chip nano and pico LEDs. like you mentioned, the little tiny ones that are like the flat. Um, they're called surface mount diode, and those ones are very popular for. They work great for any project. Um, However big or small, we have different sizes, different brightnesses, different colors. So just this little LED here, it puts out a ton of light, and it has a very wide spread as well. So you can mount it flush with um, like this is a warm white, so it'd be nice in like a room. You could
Mhm.
light up the whole room with this tiny light. We have every color possible. Um, yeah, those are definitely the most popular. Um, I was trying to grab one we have for. I was trying to think of things for. I know it's like the Battlestar Galactica theme. Um, we
Yeah, you
have.
picked that up, huh? You picked up on that theme, huh?
um, we have one that's we call it five sync with a pause. So there's five cool white LEDs that flash in sync, and then they have a pause, and then they flash again. So people will use that. Um, I think it might be a little more Star Trek. Put it around the ring and the Enterprise,
Hmm.
and it flashes. And but then for the Cylon Raider, we have we call it the Knight Rider lights, but it's the red
Larson.
scrolling lights
Yeah, the
that you see.
Larson scanner.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So it yeah, it's perfect for the eye.
I can personally say that I've purchased that exact item and I'm working on a larger Cylon figure and that product is inside of it. So if the
Oh,
Galactica,
awesome.
do you have any sneak peeks of maybe any upcoming products that are on the in the pipeline that haven't been released yet you could tell us about?
Yeah, absolutely. We're very interested in these have been around for a couple of years now. I'm sure you've seen them, the LED flexible filaments.
Hmm.
So they kind of look like a little worm. But there's a ton of different sizes, colors, voltages, and we're working on figuring out the right option. And with all of our LEDs, we try to find the most reliable one of that color and style, and the brightest ones as well. So if you go on Alibaba, there's probably millions of listings of LEDs, and there might be 1,000 different types of red LEDs, but we're working on continually updating our choice selections to have the most reliable ones possible. So um, we're working on choosing the correct sizes and voltage offerings for these before we start offering them.
Yeah, I mean, some interior lighting, some dioramas on buildings. And we're seeing a lot of buildings with LED and neon strips of lighting on it, lightsabers, whips, all kinds of things that these little, I don't know, space noodle, light lit space noodles could really add to your modeling project.
They're just super cool to play with.
I love how it's so even. The lighting is so even across the whole string.
Yeah. So this one actually has like dozens of, I guess it's too bright for the camera, but um, you can kind of see little dots along the whole string of, of
Ambient
several
lighting. I
dozen.
can see that ambient lighting in a building or something, hiding it somewhere out of sight, like under a kitchen counter lighting. Stuff like that brings ambience up in the room.
Yeah.
It's really almost
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that is really cool. Well, we've only got a couple more minutes left, Scott, but I just wanted to ask, you've been in this industry and in this hobby a long time. Where do you see this whole scale modeling hobby and industry going? There's so many changes that's happened in the last, decade. What do you see happening with this industry going forward?
A lot of the new trends have been towards um, drones, uh, remote control, um, rechargeable batteries. Uh, so there's batteries are getting smaller than ever. LEDs are getting smaller than ever, and you're able to put LEDs into projects that are super tiny and not have any like external wires coming out. Just have everything on the inside there with a rechargeable battery and super tiny lights. Um, yeah, it's really cool seeing all the new technology with LEDs, electronics, and batteries that are allowing these new innovations. And
All right, Scott, well, that pretty much wraps up our time together on this episode.
thank you so much for having me.
Don't go away, folks. We're coming back with Brandon with Squadron, and then we're going to have our viewer showcase.
BattleScale Collectica does not believe in paid subscriptions or hide any content behind paywalls. We are a viewer-supported webcast. Please support the show by following our channel and sharing each episode on your social media. If you would like to financially support the show's production, please consider sending a donation over PayPal. You may use our email, battlescalecollectica@proton.me.
Okay, so now it's time for a kit review, and I've got my friend Brandon Lowe with Squadron. Brandon, welcome to the show, and what do you feel like reviewing today?
Hey, buddy. Well, thanks for having me. I don't have anything with me to show, so I just thought perhaps we can just talk about a few of the really cool things that are coming out in the what we call the armor category. That's going to be your military vehicles, whether it's a tank, another tracked vehicle, perhaps a wheeled vehicle. In this category, 35th scale, 1 to 35 scale is king, so to speak. But you've also got 48 scale, you've got 72 scale, and then recently 1/16th scale has really become popular. And that's pretty large when you're talking about some of these vehicles. But there's several new kits. There's always new kits coming out.
Right.
There's several new kits that I think we can go over here for just a few minutes, just to kind of let you know some of the exciting products that are coming. And there's all sorts of brands that make this stuff. I mean, whether it's good old Revell or Tamiya, you can't go wrong with a Tamiya kit, right? Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of relatively newer brands, if you're talking about newer in the last decade or two, that have really come on the scene, and they're making fantastic stuff. There's a lot of, we sell at Squadron, we sell a lot of kits, believe it or not, from Ukraine. Even with the war going on right now, there are several manufacturers that are continuing to produce kits over there. And one of the kits I'd like to tell you about is MiniArt has come up with a M3 Stuart tank that's just, it's fantastic. They do it with or without, whatever you prefer, an interior. So you can build this Stuart tank and you can completely detail the inside of it. If that's not your thing, you just, like me personally, I don't consider myself good enough to do interior, so I just like doing it with the exterior. You've got that option too. And they issued a couple of these so far. They've got an early version, a late version, and they've got plans to do several different versions of this. And it's just a really, really cool kit, a World War II tank. It's a very small tank relative to Sherman's and especially some of the German tanks. But it's a really neat kit, and MiniArt's done a fantastic job tooling this up. The parts are just great. They go together really good. There's very, very little cleanup, if any. And just the way that they're able to mold these things and tool them up these days is just outstanding. So I really think that if you're a tank guy, and you want to try something, if maybe you haven't done a tank, and Stuart, it's a U.S. tank, it's a World War II, it's a relatively small kit because it's a small tank. And it'd be a fantastic way to get started in the tanks if that's something that you're looking to do.
What scale did you say that tank is going to be issued in?
It's 1/35th scale, so 35 scale, and that's going to give you, approximately something like this. It's
so a standard size for military gear.
It is, yeah. For armor, 35th scale is really kind of the standard, so to speak. There's 2 or 3 scales, 72, 48, now 16, but 35th scale is kind of the standard, so to speak, in armor modeling.
Okay. So when is this releasing, and then how much is the kit going to be, or the variations of the kit?
The first version of it's already been released. This is the initial production, meaning the tank looks like it did the very first time it was made by put out in World War II. That one's already been put out. It's already out. I think they came out with it last month. It's not very long. And then the newer version of it is the early production, which is, after they start producing the tanks, they figure out things they need to make different, and then they have different productions as the history of the tank progresses. But the kit with the interior retails for $85.99. We do our best to offer the best price we can. At the time that it was released, we were selling them for $64.49 at squadron.com. And that's with the interior. You could get the kit without the interior for $52.99. Now, granted, this day and age, prices change all the time. So depending on when people see this, that could change, but that was the prices when the kit was released. And their newer version, the early production, those will be approximately the same price with and without interior, and those are scheduled to be released sometime this summer. I don't have a firm date yet.
Okay, great. All right, so I recommend you tank guys out there, let's head over to squadron.com and take your selection on which version you want. Brandon, thanks for showing up today, and let's get together on the next episode, and let's talk about a kit then.
Absolutely, thank you.
Now it's time for the BattleScale Collectica Viewer Showcase. Today we feature a Panzertrupp radio operator in 1/10 scale. Produced by Sabbat Miniatures and built by Inca from northern Norway. Inca used Vallejo model color for the figure and life color paints for the tank parts. Ammo and MIG pigments were also used for the washes. Inca is a member of the German and the Latvian Wargrave Commissions and also writes articles for history and modeling magazines. Please visit his website, www.hobbyhistorica.com.
All right, well, that pretty much wraps up this episode of BattleScale Collectica. I want to thank my special guest Scott Jameson with Evan Designs and our friend Brandon with Squadron for appearing on the show today. We will be back in 2 Saturdays, Saturday evening. You can email us any feedback, comments, suggestions, questions at battlescalecollectica@proton.me. You can also find us in the forums. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.
BattleScale Collectica does not believe in paid subscriptions or hide any content behind paywalls. We are a viewer-supported webcast. Please support the show by following our channel and sharing each episode on your social media. If you would like to financially support the show's production, please consider sending a donation over PayPal. You may use our email, battlescalecollectica@proton.me.